everyone, and welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network. And many of you know that I have been out of town for a little bit, and I haven't had a chance to do Sunday afternoon episodes for a while. But I'm super, super excited to be back in Seattle, to be back with my collection and back into the groove of things. And I really appreciate everybody's support during the time where I had to go out of town for a family emergency. But thankfully, everything's okay. My dad's doing really well. And I'm super excited because today I have a special guest with me. And I am super excited because I'm going to see her in person in 4 days at Bricks Cascade. But many of you have seen her in various episodes of Lego Masters Season 2. And I am really pleased to welcome a friend of mine through Tricky Lug. And I'm really excited to be able to welcome her onto this show for a new segment called the Builders or Builder Insights, because I want to spend some time with this particular segment learning more about techniques and about what inspires people as they build. So please help me welcome MsSlobrickda, aka Dawn. How are you doing, Dawn?
Hi Naomi. Hi everybody.
I was wondering what happened to your audio.
Okay.
So and Brick Literacy is here. Hello, Remy. Good to see you.
Hi, Remy.
Yeah. So I wanted to just say thank you again, MsSlobrickda and Dawn, for being on the show today. We are kicking off a brand new segment, and I wanted to have you on the show specifically because you have inspired so many people with a lot of the builds that you've done. And I think not a lot of people have had a chance to learn more about you. And I've known you primarily through my interaction with your sister, also known as Deneen, also known as Brickworm. And I'm just excited to know more about who you are, what you do, how you get inspired to do a lot of the builds that you do. And there she is, Brickworm. She's here to support you too. Well, since Brickworm is here, maybe we should step back a little bit.
Her ears were burning.
She is the one who got you back into Lego, if I understand right, because when I was talking with Brickworm, she mentioned, oh, my sister from Michigan is coming into town. And I'll go ahead and have you explain the story about when you arrived in Seattle. So you're based in Michigan, and then you arrived in Seattle. And how did this whole journey start with your sister?
Well, we came out, what was it, September of 2020. My husband and I had some airline tickets to use up, so we thought, well, let's go see Deneen. We haven't been there yet. I mean, they've lived in Seattle on and off for X number of years. So I'm like, okay. And it was kind of weird because it was, very heavily into the COVID, but I want to make sure it was okay with them. But we went out and we got to go spend time with her and her family, and she was showing me some of the things she was doing. And so we just kind of sat at her desk and made quilt squares, her 6x6 quilt squares. And we're just having fun with it, just playing around. And there was no turning back.
So it started with the quilt squares. So for those of you who don't know about the project, in fact, she was featured in Brick Journal, I think in the June episode or issue. And she took 6x6 squares and used the dots, and people would make little designs, and she would compile them into a large tapestry. And so when you came to visit and you saw her collection, what was your first impression when you saw her collection because I've seen her collection too. And I'm just curious, coming from, you flew into town, you started talking to Brickworm, you saw her collection. So what was going in your mind at that time?
Well, it's like, we have always been a creative family. Mm-hmm. So my parents had Lego even when they didn't have kids or grandkids in the house to play with them. So it's not an unheard of thing.
Right.
And it's just, it was neat. It was kind of a neat
Mm-hmm.
thing. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, and it's simple, but not at the same time. You can make it as complex as you want, or it can be as simple as you want it to be. And
Yeah.
it really was just, it was just kind of neat to be able to start playing with the creativity. And I at that time didn't even know many of the parts. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
had the quarter rounds and we had, the square tiles and things like that. So we just started playing with them, and so I made a few here and there, and so those were first submitted. And it was neat to see, because she says, well, I've got a little bit here, and then she took me up into the closet upstairs, and I'm like, yeah, that's where you're hiding everything.
And Remy says that quilt squares officially is a gateway drug. So
I agree, Remy.
it all started with the 6x6 square, and look at
Right,
where you
yeah, I
are
was like
now.
one of those, like, oh, it's just little, it won't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
A year and a
Right.
half later, my wallet hurts. Hi,
Oh, Matthew
Matthew.
Brooks is here. Hello. Yeah, well, and I'm curious too about, so you saw the quilt squares and you started building them with her. And I seem to remember, if was that around the time that she was doing the rainbow quilt and that she
It
was
was
looking for
actually
multiple
before the
colors
rainbow quilt.
at the
This
time?
was this was just before the rainbow quilt. There was an October theme she was doing.
Yes, yes. That
So it was
was
the
the
October theme, I
Halloween
think, was
theme one.
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I
Yeah.
remember
So we
she
did
put
some
out a
general
call.
ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she
Yeah,
had
we
put
did
out
some
a
general
call
ones
for
together. Yeah.
multiple colors. She goes, I need more, I think
Yes.
orange, and I need more of these other particular colors. And I think that's when I also saw you got so many quilts done in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and at the time I wasn't working, so it was kind of fun, just kind of, something to dabble in,
Oh, okay.
so it was kind of fun, and relatively painless, as they say, but
But little did you know that was to foreshadow something much bigger. And
exactly, she's
Brickworm,
actually
yeah, Brickworm
she
says
was
the WBI quilt was the first for BrickCon online.
was
Okay. Okay, good to know.
okay. Yeah. And so it was just kind of, a little fun. She's actually the one who came up with my Instagram handle.
Oh.
Because I'm like, I was like, I don't know if I need people to know who I am. So Slobrickda is a brickification of
Mm-hmm.
my last name.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's like, okay, that sounds good. People don't really know me, and they didn't know me until May of
Little
this
did
past
you
year.
know,
I was just
going
kind of,
from
yeah,
I
I was like,
don't
well, so
really
much for
want
being
people to know
anonymous.
me to being on a,
To be on national
internationally
TV.
televised show. We'll get to that in a little
Right.
bit, because I think people know you from the show, but they don't necessarily know your journey from where you started.
Hmm.
And that was what, in October of
Right.
what, 2020, right? That you did that, or was it
Yeah.
2021?
September
2020,
of
right?
2020 is when we came out it was
Mm-hmm.
September of 2020 when I came out, my husband and I came out to see Deneen and her husband and family. And it just snowballed, actually. I mean, it does. Everything snowballs when it comes to Lego.
Right. And we've seen a lot of your builds
So,
too from the show, but I'm curious about what are the kinds of builds, and like I said, the focus of this show is not sets. So for those of you who are watching, I want the focus of this show to be about builders and building techniques. So I'm curious about, as a builder, what are some of the things that you gravitate to when you're building, when you're thinking about building? And hello, Mr. Dewey.
I guess I would have to say things that I gravitate to have to do with my life, whether it has
Mm-hmm.
to do with um whether it's, like I said, with Kelsey or with my parents or family or my kids. I've got 4 grown adult kids and they're growing families. So it's, and the houses we've lived in and just things that have to do with my life. That's kind of where I start with.
Right. And I noticed
So
too
my
that
builds are very
Mhm.
personal.
Yes, absolutely. And I noticed too, you tend to gravitate towards nature a lot too in many of your builds. And so with
I do,
your
yes.
builds, when you were talking about your family, one of the ones that I remember that you submitted for Tricky Lug was the house on the lake, and you had a shot of the view through the window of the lake. Was that inspired by a place that you lived at one point too?
The place I am living in right now, we've lived here for 30 years, and yeah, so you can see out the window and you can see the ponds out back and the geese will land, and we've got
Mhm.
cattails and just a variety of different things, and turtles and all kinds of different things. So we're on 10 acres, so we've got some nice area to just kind of relax. And
So Lena Inverse wants to know, are you an architect?
I am not, although I am very intrigued by architecture. I really do enjoy doing architectural features, but I did not study architecture at all.
And Brickworm wants to mention nature. Yes. Ask her how many acres she lives on now.
Yeah, just
How
over
many
10 acres.
I'm sorry, how many?
Just over 10 acres.
Just over 10 acres. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And
yes, Joel, there be turtles.
There be turtles.
Or
Stuff will
turtles, as I have
travel.
now labeled them.
Needs socks, Marbella.
Needs
Good
socks.
to see you. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Yeah, we're having a conversation with MsSlobrickda, who is also on Lego Masters Season 2, and also talking about her journey as a Lego builder and some of the things that she gravitates to. So it's really great to see that nature, family are some of the things that you enjoy. And one of the things that I wanted to point out, so some of you may be thinking about this, is you have another hobby, and I'm going to give you full screen so you can explain, what are all those blue bottles?
Okay, oops, wrong side. This is maybe a quarter of my cobalt blue glass collection. This whole cabinet is got it. I've got on the other side of this camera, there's 2 more cabinets, and I've got some downstairs. And I started with decorating my dining room in with blue tones, and found a few odds and ends pieces, and then it just snowballed into there. So between cobalt blue glass and Lego, I have no money.
Right. Well, and just that blue glass is so beautiful, but you said that's only a quarter of your collection? You have quite a few more. Wow.
I do. Yes. And I've pared back since I've been more heavily buying Lego, but there were times where I was buying both, and it's
There's a
rough.
lot of turtle discussions in the chat. So Lena says, will there be Ninja Turtles? And Joel says, all you have to do is spill some radioactive stuff to make the Ninja Turtles. So you might have to do a line of Ninja Turtles. I think that's what they're asking for. And then we have a question from the chat from Mr. Dooley.
I do have a Ninja Turtle shell.
Oh. Okay.
Favorite movie and TV show? Yeah. That's tough. I don't go out to movies a whole lot. I just never have. It's just not been a thing. I mean, I enjoy watching them, but I'd rather sit at home where I can pause it when I need to go to the bathroom or get a drink or things like that. So I don't know what my favorite movie is. I do like the Die Hard movies.
Oh, yes.
In fact,
which is also considered a Christmas movie.
One of my mosaics was a Die Hard. Yes.
Oh, so now what you need is Die Hard and Ninja Turtles combined into a MOC.
Oh my.
Well, there's some other comments
and
here.
My favorite TV show. Okay. My favorite
Yeah.
TV show will have to be any, it sounds horrible that I'm plugging the TV show, but any program that has, I love reality competition where it's actually about what they're making. The baking shows
Okay.
I absolutely love.
Oh, okay. The
Um,
Great British Bake
when
Show.
yeah, that's the
Mhm.
that's one. There's another one now that's on the CW. That's the Great Chocolate Showdown.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're making yes. So I'm kind of hooked on that one, but it's we only have season 1 or 2 here in the States. I think it's made in Canada,
Oh, okay.
and so
So that's
it's like
maybe a good segue because you've always liked all these reality cooking shows. So when it came to Lego Masters, it sounds like that was kind of like, I could do this. This would be something I want to do.
well, that's funny because when I first saw the first episode of season 1, and I'm
Hmm.
watching this and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, that would be fun for me and Deneen to do, Brickworm.
Yeah,
It's like, just in the back of
it
my
would
head,
be.
oh, that would be fun for
It
us
would have
to
been
do
great.
together.
I would have loved to
Yeah.
have seen the two of you together.
So it's like, oh, that'd be cool. I mean, that didn't work out, but it's, it was just, it was like, yeah, that would, and
Hmm.
not taking myself seriously about it. It's like, I was barely at that point. Yeah, I was barely dabbling in things, so
Right, because you appeared in 2021, right? As far as
yeah, yeah,
the airing of the show was in what, June, I think, or
yes, yeah.
and
So
and then you were filming though in what, March?
March, yeah. So
Yeah.
this time last year, we were in Atlanta filming.
Wow. Wow. So
So
you went from quilt squares in September to being on the filming of the Lego Masters show in March.
no, the following March. It was
The
a whole
following
year,
March. Oh, okay.
I
No,
think.
I think it's
Maybe
actually
not.
because you
No, it
said
wasn't.
September
No.
2020. I
Yes,
think
that's right.
yeah, September
Right.
2020, and then you started filming in
Yes.
March. So that's a
Yeah.
tremendous
So
accomplishment.
yeah. So I filled out the online application for it, and so it was just like there. It kept expecting. It's like, oh, nothing's gonna come of it. And
Hmm.
little did I know.
So there's a lot of people in the chat who want to know more about your cobalt blue glass. So
Oh.
because Joel says that cobalt blue glass is super expensive. And Remy's asking, is cobalt glass like depression glass, or do they still make it?
They do still make cobalt blue glass items. So there are the older things, and then there are what are reproduction or new productions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not excessively choosy
I'm
about
going to show your
if
collection
I
from
like
last.
the shape of it. If I like the shape of it, then it doesn't matter if it's old or new to me. That if it hits me in the feels, then that's something that I'm really
Mm-hmm.
interested in. I do have some things that are probably more pricey than others, but I did not necessarily pay a whole lot for them at the time. This has been going on for quite a few years. This is not just a brand new hobby.
Mm-hmm.
This was going on long before before I
Well,
got back into Lego.
if that's only a quarter of your collection, and that fills up, I'm going to give you full screen again. That fills
Yep.
up
Oops.
your entire cabinet, the
Yes.
top and the interior.
Yes, 3 shelves inside.
And that's 1/4 of your collection.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Wow.
I'm sitting there looking around what I've got on the other side and things I have. And I have some things that are called uranium glass, which is irradiated blue glass.
Wow.
So it glows green under a black light.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in a separate section because I don't really want.
Yeah, it doesn't get anywhere near your food, right?
Exactly. It's not. I don't know if it is or not, but I'm calling it non-food safe.
Well, there's also another comment from Alexander 23. Have you heard about this carnival purple styled glassware?
Carnival glass
Have you heard of
is a type of colored glass, and purple is one of the shades. Carnival glass, it's an iridescent kind of glassware, really pretty.
Okay.
But yeah, that is
Hmm.
Those are very pretty too. And so
Yeah.
there's blue ones of those too. So I was
Oh,
like, but I don't want to branch out into
you've
into the
already got
cobalt
enough
carnival
focus
glass.
with the
Yeah,
cobalt
I've already
blue.
lost my focus anyway. So I mean, and I have things from my husband's uncle who used to collect the glass lightning balls that were on top of
Right.
buildings years and years ago.
Oh,
And
oh wow.
I've got three cobalt blue glass ones of those.
Oh,
So
wow.
those are priceless to me as a family heirloom kind of a thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So so I've got that displayed on an
Wow.
old
Mm-hmm.
lightning rod. That's the word.
Well, and I think it's interesting to see how hobbies evolve, right? Because you often see people, like somebody asked you if you're an architect, and that, people may not have been an architect, but they may have built buildings. And one of the people in the chat was talking about the going back to Die Hard, the Naomi Tomi Tower. And that's in a different micro scale build. I will show
Oh, okay.
people one of the micro scale builds that I'm doing, but I think meshing your cobalt blue collection, you mentioned this, that you have also that color Lego. Have you thought about taking a model of maybe one of your cobalt blue glasses and redoing it in Lego?
I hadn't really thought about doing that. I have done habitats. It was last year for Valentine's Day. Brick Fan Builds had the holiday habitats,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Mm-hmm.
love. And one of mine was turtles because I collect turtle things. And the other one was
Right.
was blue glass. So in my habitat, I have little things of blue glass. So
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of incorporated it in that way. I haven't tried to do a full scale anything. I don't have, believe it or not, I do not have the inventory of the right parts. I have a lot of stuff, but
Right.
it's piecemeal.
Well,
So
and it would be something, and I wanted to get to this too, about how do you go about going through a project. So we'll get to that in a second. But I do think what's interesting is I'm looking at the chat, and there's all kinds of questions from all over the place. So one of them has to do, since we're talking about the glass, do you like uranium glass?
right,
Uranium glass, do you like it?
I have some.
Yeah,
It's kind
I
of a
think you
unique
mentioned that, but
niche.
do you like it?
So no, I think it's kind of neat. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
All right, cool.
I
And
like it.
then
I think it's
Mr.
yeah,
Dewey
I think
wanted
it's
you
kind
to
of neat.
know that his favorite movie is Gremlins and his favorite show is Community. Just so you know that Mr. Dewey
Okay.
wanted you to know that. Yeah. Now,
Okay. All right.
he's also asking about, what do you do as a profession? What's your job?
Well, I had been an industrial electrician, but I am currently not working. So
Mm-hmm.
that fared well for me to be able to travel to Atlanta at the time. And I mean, I wasn't really happy
Right.
that I wasn't working, but I mean, I might as well do something fun like film a TV show if I'm not.
Well, and that's the great thing, because we all know that to film a TV show, you need to take, 7 to 10 weeks out of your life, and you're
Yeah.
dedicated to filming every day.
Yeah. And that was
And
it. It was, we had to
yeah,
commit to so much time before they would even say yes, you're flying down.
hmm
So it's like,
right.
okay, and there are people, there are people that were there that had jobs and they were able to walk away from that for an undisclosed amount of time because you didn't know how long you were going to be gone.
So people are fascinated by the glass. All of the chat right now, there's a lot of questions about the
Okay.
chat, about glass, which I'm glad we're talking about this, because people often put you into a two-dimensional frame of just liking Lego. So Joel asks about, have you
Mhm.
thought about repairing cobalt blue
Right.
glass with Lego, kind of like kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing things? And if you don't know what kintsugi is, that's when they take gold and they take broken
Um,
pottery and they they fix it and repair it with gold, so then it repairs it, but it also makes it beautiful. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but now Joel has given you a task.
Right.
And then
yeah,
Miranda
another idea. Wonderful. I've got so many of those growing around up in here.
Yeah, and then what about green Vaseline glass?
Oh, her green Vaseline glass.
Line. I've never heard of that. Wow. So they're giving you projects.
I believe it. I've always pronounced it as Vaseline.
Giving you projects now for your blue glass.
Yeah, no, she's just saying she's got green Vaseline glasses. Must be what she saves. Yes.
Now this is an interesting question because COVID times, not probably likely to happen right away. But Mr. Dewey wants to know, what country have you always wanted to go to?
All of them. I want to travel so bad. My top two, I would have to say, are Germany, because that's where my roots are, from Germany. Germany and Australia.
Two
opposite ends of the earth, but it wouldn't be on the same trip.
Wait a little bit. Might be a while before you can go down there.
Yes. Germany might come sooner than Australia, it looks like, but
Yeah, it's just
but my husband knows people in Australia, and I've gotten
to
be in contact with Denmark. Well, yeah, that's why while I'm in Germany, I can kind of
you can head over to
Denmark on the way. Yeah. Buy an extra suitcase while we're there.
Well, let me segue a little bit into the builds that you've done. And part of the reason why I wanted to invite Dawn was because she is the only person to have done the daily brick limit every single day for 2021. And I did invite Joriel Builds to be on this call today, but he had a conflict. So I'm just curious about, for those of you who don't know, the hashtag daily brick limit is that is where the day of the month, so today is the 6th, you would create a mock out of 6 pieces. So that was your limit, was the day of the month, whatever that was. And we started this in January of 2021. So remember, MsSlobrickda was filming in March. So we started in January, and you started doing every day, like many people did, for the month of January. And then when February came up, you just decided, I'm going to do this every day of the year. And I'm curious about what motivated that, because it's an amazing accomplishment. So first of all, kudos to you. If people have not seen MsSlobrickda's page, I will share that in just a moment. But first of all, what motivated you to consider doing that for 365 days continuously?
Well, I think you guys also had a holiday brick limit earlier, like for Christmas in December before then. So there was a couple days here and there. So it kind of got my feet wet, and it's like, okay, well, I'll try I'll do your January theme. And it's like, once I got after the first couple of days, I'm like, there's so many possibilities. I had to rein it in. So it's like, how about a National Day of Recognition? So I pulled up a webpage and made a list of each day, and there was multiple choices for each day.
Oh yeah, like National Donut Day, for example.
Right.
I got so hungry watching your builds, because it would be something having to do with food many times.
I think nearly a third of my builds ended up having to do with food.
Exactly. And hello, Gary Mullane from Ireland. Good to see you.
Oh, hello. After it was, so it helped me focus, having some kind of theme to work on. And so, we did the first month, and that was fun. And I'm like, oh, I wonder how long I could do this. I wasn't planning on necessarily doing it for a whole year, but I was like, oh, I'll keep going. I'll start over with February 1st and keep going and see, how long it goes. And then we got down towards the end of February, and I'm like, okay, but I've just found out I'm going to be gone for who knows how long.
Right.
So I actually pre-built some of the things for a while I was in Atlanta. Not everything,
Right.
but some of the things were actually built in Atlanta.
That
I
was
did have
going to be my
own
next
personal Lego I
question.
brought with me.
Was how big of a collection did you bring with you? Because as Lena mentioned, is that you were also building out of your hotel room while you were filming Lego Masters. So how large of a collection did you bring down in order to continue with that? Plus you did other MOCs for Tricky Bricks too during that time.
I did.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like, what did she pack in her suitcase?
Luckily, they paid for 2 check bags.
Oh, good.
But I had to actually bring a wardrobe. I brought a wardrobe for the show for being on there for all 12 episodes. So that so that took up space. But then I brought some sets that's like, I haven't built them yet. I'm expecting to have some downtime. I didn't have as much as I thought I would, but that's okay. I brought the bouquet. I hadn't put that together yet. I bought it for myself for Valentine's Day and hadn't put it together. So it's like, okay, well, it's, then I'll have flowers in my room, and I think I took Cinderella's castle, and then we had a week of 4 days of downtime before we started because we had to quarantine. So okay. Amazon Prime got a lot of orders delivered to our hotel.
Oh, nice.
And it wasn't just me.
Nice.
Everybody was doing
the quarantine changed a lot of things too for production, I imagine. And just because you probably couldn't interact with each other while you were in the quarantine portion, except maybe you and your brother, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, there was, basically we were sequestered for the whole filming period that we were there. And so it was like, all right, so we figured, well, we're going to learn some power up functions and we're going to learn some Technic stuff. So we ordered more sets. So I think I have,
Amazon
I
Prime.
don't know how many different sets I had delivered or Jack had delivered to the hotel.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Probably
exactly.
To get Amazon Prime to sponsor you sometime, or the whole Lego Masters Season 2 cast, because you funded them while you were there.
Right.
And Brick Literacy
I believe we
comment
did.
about, would you consider moving to Mars in order to expand the daily brick limit? I don't think I would not do well.
Since our year is longer, right?
I would definitely not do well in space. I mean, it's interesting. We have this
no, I'm spacey
this
enough.
romanticized idea of what space would be like, but no, I I think I've seen way too many horror movies that would be more like space.
It's romanticized.
Yes. Oh, the Brick Babe is here. Hey, Brick Babe, good to see you.
I think in a lot of things it's romanticized, so it's like, no, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Well, let me share with folks some of your builds.
Yeah, so it was weird once the year was done that I didn't do them. Okay. All right.
Okay.
See if you pick out ones that I.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at, this is MsSlobrickda's Instagram page. And first of all, I wanted to mention that I've been, following you for a while because, as you know, I know you through your sister Brickworm. But I wanted to just mention a couple of things. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit because you have quite a few posts here. But
I do. Not as many as I used to.
Well, I'm going to just scroll down to kind of more of the beginning. So sorry, folks, that I'm doing this. But here's these are
that's December.
Actually the numbers are confusing me because this is, I think, the Advent calendars.
Yeah, the big numbers are Advent calendars, so that's December. So
right. Okay, but you did do a few builds in December too. So I think. Let me see. I think. Let's take a look. Is this one of them?
No, that's one of the build to give stars.
The build to give ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have so much here. Here's one.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So as you can see, this one is National Monkey Day.
And believe it or not, that was the easiest one of whatever the options were. I don't recall, but some of the options, it was just like, okay, I will make a monkey. And then I think I said something about the lines, it kind of looks like a dog or a panda or a who knows what,
Right.
but I'm saying it's a monkey.
It's a monkey. I think legitimately you can claim this as a monkey. And I think, the other thing I loved about how you did your builds is that you would put the number of the day. So did you end up doing this in Photoshop then, where you'd put the number, superimpose that, or some other
No,
program?
just on my phone.
Oh, just
edit on my phone. Yeah. I started doing that when I was pre-building the stuff to take to the during while I was in a show. So I would remember which day it was for.
Yeah, and then this one, here's another good example, National Violin Day. So you find the national day, and then you take a look at your parts, and then you shape them. And I was curious, when you're building, so when you see National Violin Day, do you get reference photos and work against the reference photos, or is this something that you're just kind of molding it using the bricks?
This one particularly, I took violin lessons when I was a child.
Oh, okay.
So that one is kind of was from memory. There's additional photos on that post because I had one that I had built, and it's like, and I'm sure that it's not
like this is more like a banjo, right?
Yeah, a banjo or a lute or something,
Oh, okay.
so I'm at, and that was the 14 pieces as well. But I said, I told myself I can do better. Right. So, so it's always a work in progress.
Well, like I said, I think that it's always been amazing to see, first of all, how prolific you are. And then after looking at how prolific you are, just also the educational value, like Gingerbread House Day, right?
Yeah.
So
and trying to only get with 12 pieces, that was a real challenge.
Yeah. And for those of you who want to, let me go back, and I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Is that if you want to learn more about MsSlobrickda, this is her Instagram handle. So MsSlobrickda, you can take a look at quite a few of the builds that she's done, because as I mentioned, she did one for every single day of 2021. But there are some more recent things that you've been doing, which I wanted to showcase, because I know I asked her to go grab this tile, would you? Because it's super cool. So let me show that to everybody, because I just think it is super, super cool. So check this out. And let me see if I can get this right. There we go. So this is checkerboard pattern. And you did this for a challenge for the woman in Australia.
Fleur. Yeah.
Yeah, Watkins Fleur. And she had a black and white challenge. And I just thought this was super cool. And for those of you who don't know this technique, it's where you interlace a bunch of headlight bricks.
And I had just 4 of them, 2 white ones and 2 red ones together. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. What would it look like if I had a whole bunch? So I started playing around with it and put more and more together. And then I thought, well, now I've got studs here on the ends.
On the outer edge.
So I can put my tiles. Oops, I don't have that snapped in there. There we go. So I can put my tiles in there to give it just a nice somewhat finished edge. The edges are the corners are a little cut out, but
yeah, I really loved seeing that. And I had sent you a text message, I think, as a response saying, oh, that would be great for a floor or even a wall print. And so you said, that's exactly what I'm planning to do.
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking, I haven't incorporated this anything yet, but it's and I know I'm not the first one to invent this, but it was just I hadn't physically put it together on myself. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how complicated was that? And there were a couple times where I had things turned around. So you kind of have
Right.
to keep your brain on the same.
Well,
Keep
I
going.
think it goes back to if you see a technique that you like, if you didn't invent it, that's okay, but you're putting your own spin on it.
Right.
And in
Right.
this case, it was because of a challenge that Watkins Floor had put out there for everybody and saying, hey, do something in black and white, very broad theme.
Right. Right.
But you came up with this, and I was like, wow, that is very cool and makes me want to try that. But it also makes
Right.
me think I have to get a lot of freaking headlight bricks to do that.
This is as many black and white ones as I have. That's it. That's as big as I can go.
Okay. So if you wanted to
For
do a
now.
floor, you're definitely going to have to order a lot
Right.
more in order
Yes.
to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So all right. So I want to just check up on the chat. There's been a couple conversations about going to Mars,
and yeah,
which I don't think she's planning to go to Mars.
But
But
that's not high on my list now. But thank you.
but I think people were just intrigued with this conversation. That's why it's always fun when you're doing interviews, because the chat element always brings in another kind of
tangent.
dimension.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and this comment's hilarious. So Lena says, a Mars mission may be considered offensive to the Mars natives. So let's talk about, you're going to be at Bricks Cascade.
I am.
How has it been for you now that you've been on television, Lego Master Season 2 contestant, and you go to these cons and people recognize you from the show? So how has that been for you? Has that experience been like?
It's still strange for me, people wanting my autograph or want a picture with me. I am not that photogenic, but it's like, okay, that's fine, so I think I've come out of my shell because once I know people, I'm kind of extroverted, but if I don't know you, I feel like I'm introverted, if that's a thing, so it's been very strange, but the Lego has connected me to people in so many different ways that now I feel like I can,
so and you have another Lego family. They
They
often talk about that being on the cast, you bonded so well. So now you have another Lego family there. And Joel wants to know, exactly. I was trying not to go down this route. I told MsSlobrickda before the show is that I wasn't going to ask her, but since the chat is asking, oops, sorry, wrong comment. All right, what's your favorite Lego part and color?
My favorite Lego part, I think, would be the swirl.
Oh, the gold swirl?
Yeah, the gold swirl. And my favorite, just because it's so pretty, and it's great for decoration.
Very decorative.
And it does come in other colors.
Santa's sleigh.
Yeah, and it comes in other colors. It's really neat as a relief if you're doing like gray on gray or black on black or something that you can just barely make out that it's there, but it adds a little depth. My favorite color, and I can't remember what the Lego color is, but it's related to cobalt blue.
I was just going to say, I have a feeling it's going to be cobalt blue.
Yep.
All right. So just to make sure that people are also mentioning, since you mentioned that you're an introvert, that many Lego people are introverts. And Hooded One also says it's very common for introverts to open up when there is some common ground. Yep, and so I think you've probably found that being at Lego conventions. Yeah. So what are your plans for Bricks Cascade? What are you planning to do in the next 4 days when you arrive? You're first going to be in Seattle to visit with Brickworm, of course.
Yep.
And you're going down together. So what's your agenda like?
Well, I've signed up for games. I enjoy playing the games just as much as anybody else, and even if it's under a clock, it's just not a big red clock. That's good.
Yeah. And you don't have the lights turning red.
The lights don't
when you have 1 hour left.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play. I've signed up for some games, and one of them, Deneen and I are gonna signed up to do together. We'll see if we, because they have to do the random draw. But so we signed up to do one of the games together.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And then There is a Meet the Lego Masters, because there will be, I think, 10 or 12 of us
I was
there
going to say, there's going to be quite a few of you
from
there.
season 1 and season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be quite a few of us there. And we have a Tricky Lug meetup. And so I get to actually meet all these people that I
Saturday at 11:30. You can meet both of us.
Right.
Tricky Lug meetup.
Yep. So I do that and just enjoy what's, the builds. I enjoy walking around. I'm inspired by all the other builders out there. It's just so neat to see these things. And there's some things that I think will be back there that were at BrickCon in Seattle in October. So I can get look at them a little more time looking at them, and really excited about that. So
well, I didn't get to see you at BrickCon, and I have a world of debt to your sister, Brickworm, because she brought my MOCs to the con, because I was registered, I paid my money, I couldn't be there. So she brought my MOCs, and I was so excited because since, and one of the next things I wanted to segue into was your bracelets. And before I do, I wanted to share with you that Brickworm, this is a different MOC, but she brought one of my MOCs down that featured these Bracelet Towers. And I just got word from Tiago Caterino that he gave me permission to use his logo on one of the towers. And this one is the Women's Brick Initiative Tower. This is going to be on display at Brick's Cascade. And like I said, I really have your sister to thank, because, she didn't have to bring my MOCs, but I couldn't be there at BrickCon. I couldn't meet with you. I couldn't meet with all these other amazing builders who are going to be there. So, but I wanted to ask you, since we're talking about the bracelets, that one of the things that you're known for is the Kelsey bracelet, because of when you were on the show, you mentioned this amazing, touching story about your niece. And you're wearing your bracelet now. Let me give you full screen. So I'm curious about what are your plans for the Kelsey bracelet? Will you be having? I imagine you're going to be wearing them at Brick's Cascade.
I definitely will be wearing my Kelsey bracelet at Brick's Cascade, and I've made up a dozen or so of them that, if people are interested in getting one of their own, they can, we can make arrangements for all that. But it's just a way to keep Kelsey's memory alive. Since we lost her, it's been, let's see, probably it's going on 15 months now. We lost her. So it was still very raw when we were filming.
Of course. So. And I think it's an amazing tribute, because the other thing that, for those of you who don't know about MsSlobrickda's builds, is she incorporates butterflies into her builds as a way to pay tribute to Kelsey as well. And some of the other things that we will be bringing to Brick's Cascade are also the Friends Tower collaboration apartments that we're doing with Tricky Lug. And you have an amazing build with the butterfly in it. And it's really, really sweet.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think too that I want to go ahead and show this again, that if you want to know more about the Kelsey bracelets, or if you want a custom bracelet, I think that MsSlobrickda can do for you. You can contact her directly on Instagram. So follow MsSlobrickda on Instagram. And she is going to be bringing some of her MOCs, which Brickworm wanted to make sure that she knows that everybody knows that, yes, she's not going to just be there as a talking head at some of the, various, gatherings, and signing autographs and doing all that. But you will have some of your MOCs there too, which is really exciting.
I will. Yep, I'll have some of my MOCs, and some of them have not been seen anywhere before, so they will debut at Brick's Cascade. I like, there are a couple things that I've already posted on Instagram, but there's some that I haven't yet. I'm kind of holding off.
I haven't posted this yet on Instagram. So for those of you here, you get to preview of this is part of the Round Tower District. So I'm collaborating with PT McEwen, and he's got a couple round towers. I've got a couple round towers, and they're all going to be collectively together in the Micropolis area. So if you're going to be at Brick's Cascade, check that out too. Now, where are you going to be most of your mocks? You don't have to tell us what your mocks are, but if you're going to be hanging out at the mock area, where can we find you and your
I'm
mocks?
not sure because I have things that are going to be in the Tricky Bricks collab for the tower in Town and
Yep.
Country. I
Yep.
have something going in architecture, something in classic, some art, microscale, mixed, and pulp culture. So
yeah,
I'm all over the place. So I don't know if I actually will sit down somewhere or if I just make the rounds because BrickCon, I just kind of made the rounds most of the time. If I wasn't playing a game or doing a talk, I was just checking out things, talking with the different
walking
builders
around
and admiring everything that's there. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Brickworm told you about how she and I met. We met at BrickCon back in 2019, I believe. And she and I hung out at the microscale area. And that's when we first started building Micropolis and the first day we met, we started building. And that's the great thing about Lego is that Lego is a great way to connect people together, so to speak.
It is, definitely.
No pun intended. Okay, people want to know. And first of all, before I ask about this other line, first of all, Alexander23 wanted to mention that your butterfly was amazing on the show, as well as all the things that you're doing.
Oh,
and condolences to you with your loss. We know that she means so much to you as well as to Brickworm. And it's just wonderful that you can continue this legacy for her.
Yeah.
Okay, now everybody wants to know, what about the Muppet minifigure collection?
Oh my gosh, yes, definitely. Brickworm and my dad, something about Kermit the Frog just resonated with him. He had a stuffed Kermit the Frog, as a 60, 70-year-old man, and so the Muppets, I grew up with the Muppet Show and things like that. And it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
So I love Animal and, the whole collection,
Right.
So
it's going to be an amazing
it's a definite
collection.
must-have, and I need to have every
agree.
single one. There's some of the collections, some of the CMFs are like, yes. Yeah.
And then Hooded One wants to know, are you going to be leaving small builds of appreciation at the con? And I can't remember, what were you leaving behind at like Brick Rodeo and some of the other cons that you were at?
Oh, I don't have one in here, but it has, I hate this reverse thing. It has a butterfly on it.
Let me give you full screen so people can
I don't
see
have one in front of me. I have a butterfly on it. That's what I was leaving. Little butterflies, build little appreciation, and if there's something that strikes my fancy, it just might get a little build of appreciation. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think I hadn't thought about that. I know we've been talking about it as a tricky lug group, that clickies might end up being left at different places. But there's a big Muppet discussion going on now.
Of course.
Ozzy Bear, they want that. Oh, look, Debo's here.
Hi, Debo.
He's hoping for a minifig series 2. Yeah, where's Scooter and Gonzo for life? Yeah,
Scooter.
So people are excited about the Muppets. And
I love the Muppets. So
I'm super excited to meet you in person, as well as all the other people who
I'm so excited. I know all these people and I just want to meet. I'm like, I told my husband, I said, there's at least 40 people going to this con that I know, quote unquote, know.
Yeah.
That I need to see. And he's like, go for it. Okay.
Through this. And once again, amazing accomplishment that you've done, and not only with Lego Master Season 2, which people know you for, but at least from, personally, all the work you put into the Daily Brick Limit. I thank you on behalf of both me and Joriel Builds, because I know we started that and had started that in 2021, and you took it for the entire year. And nobody has done that accomplishment. It's tremendous. And just all the positive work that you're doing in this community. It's wonderful. And I can't wait to meet you in person. It's going to be great. So,
I know, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I know. I'm just so excited. I can't wait.
Well, we will disregard Joel because he doesn't want to meet anybody in person. No, he says that
Right.
he met me in person at Toy Safari. So
Okay.
I said, he likes to put comments like that to be, a little
Oh, yes.
controversial, but
Yes.
we know
Joel
that.
controversial? No.
Yes, I know, Joel. You gotta, gotta watch. Maybe you need your socks. Go put your socks on, and you'll feel better.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, so and everybody's now talking about the eagle and
The eagle
and
Rolf,
Rolf
yep.
and yeah. So there's all kinds of different kinds of minifigs
Oh, yeah.
coming out. And don't forget to bring your minifig too. So for those of you who are attending
Got her sitting
Bricks
with
Cascade,
my pile.
your own sig fig, bring your sig fig. And I know that we're looking at sig figs as mini dolls for the friends apartments as yourself, but also consider bringing both a regular sig fig of a minifig and a mini doll of yourself, because what Bricks Cascade does, which is different than a lot of other cons, is they put all the minifigs together for a group shot, which is a lot of fun. So I got to remember to pack that too. Don't forget your minifigs.
Right.
Well, once again, Dawn, thank you so much. Thank you for spending this time. I know it's been long overdue because I've been wanting to have you on the show for a long time. And I really appreciate your patience with that and for dedicating your time. I'm glad we found a time that works for both of us.
Yes, it was great. I appreciate everybody in the chat. And
yes, thank you, everyone. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the stream. It is really helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and put that little ticker there. Once again, follow MsSlobrickda on Instagram if you want to know more about her Kelsey bracelets, or if you want to connect with her while she's at the convention. I think you're going to be checking your Instagram while you're at the convention. I will be too. And you're listening to the Brickanista Broadcast Network. And if you want to,
I might check it once or twice. Yeah.
So you can send a note for the Brickanista Broadcast Network, P.O. Box 31956, Seattle, Washington. And I just wanted to thank everybody in the chat for tuning in. Thank you, Dawn, again, MsSlobrickda. It's such a delight to get to know you in this way. And I can't wait. We're going to have a selfie together in Portland in 4 days. 4 days. It's hard to believe all this work that still needs to happen in the next 4 days. But super excited. Super excited to see you, your MOCs, of course, your sister. And is Jack going to be there too? Is he going to be there or at a future con with you?
No, he is not. We don't have any specific plans just yet. We're talking about possibly Brick World Chicago together.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to meet you, and I'm so excited to see your MOCs. And I'm so glad that you took the time to be on the Brickanista Broadcast Network for this first installment of Builder Insights. So thank you, everybody.
You still got to get used to saying that, don't you?
That's the first episode. This is the first episode of Builder Insights. So thank you so much for helping me kick this off. And thank you, everybody. Thanks, Hooded One, Alexander 23, Lena Inverse, Debo, of course, Brickworm, and Brick Literacy. Everybody who's been in the chat, if I didn't get to your name, but thank you so much. And as they say on the Brickanista Broadcast Network, may the clutch be with you. Take care, everybody. Bye.